Most men think attraction is about looks, money, or cheesy pickup lines, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Women aren't drawn to the obvious. They don't fall for the guy who tries too hard or the one constantly seeking their approval. What truly makes a man irresistible is something deeper: his mindset, his presence, his ability to move through the world with quiet confidence. And the best part? These qualities aren't something you're born with, they can be developed. If you know what to focus on, you'll naturally become the kind of man women are magnetically drawn to without forcing a thing. Today, we're breaking down 5 habits that will instantly make you more attractive to women. No gimmicks, no tricks, just time-tested principles rooted in psychology and the ancient wisdom of the Stoics. Master these habits, and you'll notice a shift, not just in how women see you, but in how the world responds to you. We're starting with the most unexpected habit and ending with the most important one, the one that separates weak men from truly powerful ones. So stay until the end, because that final habit? It's what makes a man impossible to ignore. And here's the thing, when you apply these principles, women will feel a natural pull toward you. They won't be able to explain why, but they'll find themselves more intrigued, more engaged, and more eager to be around you. No chasing. No proving. Attraction will happen naturally, because you'll be operating on a level most men will never understand. Let's get started. The 5th habit that will make you instantly more attractive? Talking less and listening more. Most men make the same mistake when talking to women: they talk too much. They try to impress, they overshare, they ramble on about themselves, thinking that the more they say, the more interesting they'll seem. But here's the reality: the more you talk, the less she values your words. Want to stand out? Flip the script. Talk less. Listen more. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful habits you can develop. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, a man who actually listens is rare. And women? They notice. Think about it. How often do people truly listen, without interrupting, without waiting for their turn to speak, without glancing at their phone every 2 seconds? Almost never. That's why when a man gives a woman his full attention, she feels it. She feels understood, valued, and drawn to him on a level she can't even explain. And here's the best part: you don't have to be witty, clever, or impressive. Just be present. Be genuinely interested. Ask good questions. Let her talk. The less you speak, the more mysterious and confident you appear. And confidence? That's the ultimate trigger for attraction. Now, don't get this twisted. This isn't about sitting there silently like a statue. It's about strategic listening. It's about making eye contact, responding at the right moments, and giving her space to express herself. When you do this, something incredible happens. She starts chasing your validation. She starts wondering what you're thinking. She invests more in the conversation because you're not just another guy desperately trying to impress her. And that's when attraction starts to build. But here's where most men fail. They don't just talk too much, they talk about themselves too much. And that leads straight into the next habit, one that will instantly set you apart from 99% of men. If you're getting value from this video, take a second to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Which part of this habit do you need to work on? Let me know, and let's keep going. The next habit that makes a man instantly more attractive? The ability to laugh at yourself. Most men think confidence means acting tough, being serious all the time, or never admitting mistakes. But real confidence isn't about looking perfect, it's about being so secure in yourself that you're not afraid to look a little ridiculous. And that's where self-deprecating humor comes in. Women are instinctively drawn to men who can laugh at themselves. Why? Because it signals something powerful. You don't take yourself too seriously. And that's rare. Most guys are either too insecure to joke about their own flaws or too arrogant to admit they even have any. But when a man can confidently poke fun at himself, it does three things. 1. It shows you're emotionally strong. Insecurity makes people defensive. Confidence makes people open. A man who can laugh at himself is telling the world, I'm comfortable with who I am. 2. It puts people at ease. Ever noticed how the most charismatic people aren't afraid to make themselves the punchline? That's because humor breaks tension. When you can joke about yourself, you make the people around you feel comfortable. And 3, it makes you instantly more likable. Think about the difference between a guy who gets offended at every joke and a guy who can roll with anything. Who do you want to be around? Exactly. Now, here's the key: self-deprecating humor isn't about putting yourself down. It's not about making yourself look weak. It's about showing that you're confident enough to handle a joke, even when it's at your own expense. For example, if you trip over your words, don't get embarrassed. Laugh it off. If you mess up something small, don't get defensive. Make a joke about it. When you do this, you become instantly more attractive because it flips the script. Instead of her judging you, she starts admiring your ability to handle anything with ease. And here's the real secret: when you can make fun of yourself, you instantly make her feel safe laughing around you. You create an environment where she doesn't have to be perfect either. That's rare. That's magnetic. But here's where it gets even better. When you combine self-irony with the next habit, you take attraction to an entirely new level. Because the next trait? It's the one that instantly makes women respect you, and most men completely fail at it. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who constantly complains. Think about it. When was the last time you heard a successful, respected, confident man whining about his problems? Exactly. Women are naturally drawn to strength. And strength isn't just about muscles or money, it's about mindset. The way you handle setbacks, failures, and frustrations tells a woman everything she needs to know about you. If you're the kind of guy who makes excuses, blames others, or complains about how unfair life is, you might as well be waving a giant red flag that says, I am not in control of my life. And here's the brutal truth: nobody respects a complainer. Not other men. Not women. Not even yourself. Ever notice how the most attractive men, the ones who walk into a room and command attention, never waste time whining? That's because they live by an unspoken rule: if something isn't working, fix it. If you can't fix it, adapt. If you can't adapt, move on. That's the mindset of a winner. But here's where most men fail: they think complaining is just venting or being real. Wrong. Complaining is like a slow poison. It seeps into your words, your posture, your energy. It makes you look weak, bitter, and desperate for sympathy. And trust me, women do not want to play therapist to a grown man who can't handle his own life. Instead, be the man who handles problems with quiet resilience. Something goes wrong? Shrug it off and move forward. Plans fall apart? Adjust without making a scene. A woman sees that, and she instantly categorizes you as a man who is in control. And that's powerful. Now, let's be clear, this isn't about bottling up emotions or pretending life is perfect. It's about choosing your battles. If you're always complaining about traffic, work, or minor inconveniences, you're broadcasting to the world that small things control you. And a man who's easily rattled by little things? How can he possibly handle the big challenges in life? But here's where it gets even more interesting. When you stop making excuses and complaining, people start treating you differently. Women respect you more. Other men look up to you. And most importantly, you start respecting yourself. Now, If you really want to elevate your presence and set yourself apart from the crowd, the next habit is where everything changes. Because the truth is, most men crumble under pressure. They let emotions dictate their actions, and in the process, they lose control over themselves and over how others perceive them. But the men who master the next habit, they become unshakable. They command respect, they exude confidence, and they instantly become more attractive. And once you learn it, you'll never look at social dynamics the same way again. The next habit is the ability to control your emotions. Nothing repels a woman faster than a man who's emotionally unstable. Mood swings, outbursts, jealousy, neediness, these are instant attraction killers. Why? Because they scream one thing: weakness. And women, whether they realize it or not, are hardwired to avoid weak men. Now, don't get this twisted, this isn't about being emotionless. It's about being in control. Anger, frustration, fear, these emotions are natural. But the moment they control you instead of the other way around, you lose. Look at the most respected men in history. Leaders, warriors, kings. They didn't panic under pressure. They didn't lash out when things went wrong. They stayed composed. That's the kind of presence that commands respect and triggers deep attraction. Women want to feel safe around a man, and emotional control is the ultimate signal of strength. A man who keeps his cool under pressure, who doesn't break when things get tough, is a man she can trust. And trust? That's the foundation of attraction. But here's where most guys fail. They react instead of responding. Someone disrespects them, they explode. A woman pulls away, they beg for her attention. Something doesn't go their way, they complain and blame the world. That's weakness. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine a man who, no matter what happens, stays calm. He doesn't let petty drama affect him. He doesn't chase validation. He's in control of himself, his words, his actions, his energy. That's the man women can't resist. So how do you develop this level of control? Simple, pause before you react. When something triggers you, train yourself to step back instead of lashing out. Take a breath. Ask yourself, will this matter in a day? A week? A year? Most of the time, the answer is no. And when you master this, you become a man who moves through life unshaken. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When you control your emotions, you automatically elevate your status. You become the man who leads, who sets the tone, who people look to in moments of uncertainty. And women? They can't help but respect and admire that. If you really want to take your appeal to the next level, the last habit is the most important of all. It's the one thing that instantly makes or breaks your presence. Master it, and you'll never have to prove your attractiveness to a woman again. She'll already feel your power. And at the top of the list, the most important habit of all is never putting anyone above you. The biggest mistake men make when trying to impress women? They put her on a pedestal. They act like she's the prize, like her validation is the ultimate goal. And guess what? That instantly makes you less attractive. Women can sense when a man devalues himself in their presence. The second you start acting like she's more important than you, over-texting, over-complimenting, bending over backward to please her, you send a clear message: I am beneath you. And that kills attraction instantly. Here's the truth: the second you put a woman above you, she starts looking down on you. Women are naturally drawn to men they respect, and they cannot respect a man who acts like he needs their approval. Now, let's be clear, this doesn't mean being rude, arrogant, or disrespectful. It's not about putting her down. It's about putting yourself first. A high-value man treats a woman well, but he never compromises his own value to win her over. He has standards. He has a life. He doesn't chase, beg, or seek validation. So how do you embody this mindset? Simple, act like a man who knows his worth. If she takes too long to reply, you don't sit there obsessing. You move on with your day. If she tests you with drama, you don't engage. You stay calm and unbothered. If she plays games, you don't chase. You walk away. This kind of man automatically commands respect. Women feel it when a man isn't desperate for their attention. And when they sense that, they start chasing you. Here's the ultimate test. If she disappeared from your life tomorrow, would you be fine? If the answer is no, you've given her too much power. If the answer is yes, you're already ahead of 99% of men. Master these 5 habits, and you'll never have to chase women again. They'll sense your presence before you even say a word. Attractiveness isn't about tricks or catchy lines. It's about who you are and how you carry yourself. A man who listens more than he talks, laughs at himself, refuses to complain, controls his emotions, and never puts anyone above himself, that's a man who commands respect. Most guys will never understand this. They'll try to impress women, seek approval, and wonder why their attraction disappears. But you won't make that mistake. Because now, you know the truth. If this video gave you value, take a second to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know which habit resonated with you the most. Stay strong. Stay grounded. And I'll see you in the next video.